Come on, Sarah, cheer up already. Please? HMPH. Like I care. After Claire set up a new table for us in place of the one that had been broken, we resumed our drinking. Not alcohol, of course, but juice. We were drinking juice. Sarah had finally gotten to the point where she would at least speak to us. Immediately after the fight she had thrown herself over the table and refused to say a word. The rest of us tried everything we could to restore her humor. And it was only after I very, very tenderly patted her head for 15 minutes straight and promised to go fishing with her that she started to show some improvement. This sure takes me back to when we first met her. It was quite the undertaking getting her to stop crying back then too. Sheesh, I couldn't give you the present, and a weird guy appeared out of the blue, and, arg, everything's gone so wrong. Good job going easy on him, though, Serenay. You know. My heart was literally in my throat, Ryan said as she used her homemade chopsticks to pick out pieces of bone with some meat left on them and pass them to Alex, who was camping out in her shadow. And I'm more than happy to receive presents anytime, I added. In fact, you can give it to me right now. I don't want to now. It's not the right mood anymore. That's, well, fair enough. We were currently sharing our table too, which didn't help. As for who we were sharing it with. So good, this is so good. Oh, come on, Sylvia, you're getting sauce all around your mouth. NN. Thank you, Emma. MHM, you're welcome. Sylvia and Emma. Around the time when Claire was preparing a new table for us, Ruka had completely conked out, so Gerard left to take her home. Consequently, we'd ended up with 2 empty seats at our table. I'd eventually folded at the sight of Sylvia staring like an abandoned kitten and agreed to let her and Emma join us. We got to talking, and it didn't take long before we had opened up to each other quite a bit. And all this right after I'd said goodbye because I couldn't afford to pay them any more attention. Talk about a quick reunion. Ariel and Kokudori had gone ahead to their inn, taking Nagwa with them. According to Emma, the Adventurers Guild had already arranged lodging for them, but they'd arrived too late and missed dinner. Most outdoor stalls were already closed at this time, and because of my ceremony, the taverns were chock full. Unable to bear Sylvia's pitiful hungry look any longer, Nagwa had decided to force a random group to yield their seats. But for some reason, instead of going after hoodlums or punks, he'd come over to pick a fight with us. Still, why didn't you just tell us you're Sylvia's opponent for tomorrow? Emma asked with a slight pout. I did consider it, but it's something that everyone else in the tavern already knew, and I wanted to focus on Sarah instead of fielding follow-up questions. So, Nagwa was up against a party member of the new rank S adventurer. Now it makes sense that he lost. Oh, no, I'm not blaming you or anything. The fault is his for misjudging your companion's strength and picking a losing fight. Grr, Sarah growled, glaring at them in a clear display of hostility. She was still openly wary of our new acquaintances. Come on, Sarah, leave them alone already. Sylvia's promised to go all out in tomorrow's match, and that's what matters, right? I mean, if you say so, Kelvin. And there you have it. Good luck to both of us tomorrow, Sylvia. Oh boy, I can hardly wait. I don't mind, but why? We can't die during the match, right? Getting to fight someone powerful with absolutely no risk is a priceless opportunity. It would be such a waste to not take full advantage of it. As Sylvia stuffed her cheeks with a spaghetti dish called Napolitan, a question mark seemed to appear over her head. Does she not understand this thrill and exhilaration? What a pity. Truly. I don't really get it, but I just have to go all out during the fight, right? Sure. Emma looked at Sylvia with concern. Don't go overboard, okay? Ahaha, good for you, Kel-ni. Thank you for waiting, Ethel said, emerging from the kitchen with seconds for Sylvia and Melfina. Here are your Napolitans. As it turned out, Sylvia was also a big eater. She wasn't on Melfina's level, but what she could pack away was still rather impressive considering her build was more like Ephial's. And speaking of Melfina, she hasn't said a word since Sylvia and Emma joined our table. Am I imagining it, or has she started eating faster? Is she feeling competitive about this? Oh right, you haven't met yet, I noted, quickly introducing Ephil to our new acquaintances. So, you are Kelvin San's maid, and you made these dishes. Hold on, why are you working here as a waitress, then? The proprietress, Claire San, is my cooking mentor. I'm simply helping her out in the kitchen today. I smiled proudly. The Toragian cuisine that you just had was also made by her. Very nice, Emma complimented. It was absolutely delicious, Ephil San. Strangely, I even started tearing up. Sylvia suddenly grabbed Ephil's hands. What's she doing? Hi. Why yes, hello. How may I help you? Please give me your autograph. That day, Ephil earned herself a new fan. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow. The celebration had concluded without further mishap, and Ephil, Sarah, Ryan, Melfina, and I were on our way back home. My legs and hips had significantly recovered, at least to the point where I could walk on my own. After all, I couldn't very well lean on my maid indefinitely. Ephil did look a bit disappointed about that, though. Once we started talking, it turns out they're pretty nice people, Melfina commented. I looked at her pointedly. Once we started talking? You were stuffing your face the whole time. Well, I'll admit they weren't as bad as I first thought, Sarah conceded. But the same can't be said for the dog person. Sarah had eventually gotten to the point where she was able to talk to Sylvia and Emma normally. Her fists might still fly when she sees Nagua again, but that's none of my concern. Master, was my signature good enough? It was my first time doing that. Sylvia seemed happy with it, which is all that matters, right? At least, that's what I told myself when I was asked for an autograph once. It was, when I'd just been promoted to rank A, I think? I can't remember who asked for it, though. Thank you for teaching me how to write, Master. And to think I barely knew how to read when we were in Turai. Kel Ni taught you? But I knew how to read and write the language here straight away. I assume transmigrators learn it automatically. It was the same for me when I arrived. It's a bit like an after-sales service we provide to transmigrators for quality of life purposes. It'd be quite a struggle not knowing a word of the local language after being flung into a whole new world. We bantered for a while longer until we reached the gate to our estate. Oh right, I still haven't fixed the guard golems that Pretia half demolished. Guess I'll have to redirect the golems stationed inside the house to gate duty for a while. Welcome home, everyone, Ellie said as she emerged through the front door. I'm truly sorry for the trouble Ruka caused. I will scold her properly when she wakes up tomorrow. I waved a hand. As long as she doesn't do it again, it's fine. Gerard quite enjoyed looking after her tonight. Gerard-sama is far too kind to us. Master, I don't believe you've had your bath yet, Ephil said, turning to me. Would you like one now? Oh, she's right. All I did was cast clean on myself. I think I have regained enough energy to take one now. Yes, please. I'd like to have a good sleep tonight. Understood, Master. Well, tomorrow's the promotion ceremony, finally. And, more importantly, the practice match with Sylvia that I've been looking forward to so much. I'll also need to make contact with the Oracle, Colette. It's going to be a long day. Let's have a bath and go straight to bed. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. The next day, we made our way to the enormous multi-purpose square located in the center of the city, where large-scale festivals and celebrations were always held. A special venue had been set up just for the event, with the area for the ceremony being a central carpeted pathway lined with chairs for VIPs and, farther off, extra space for common guests to observe from. Damn, something of this scale was done in 4 days' time? I guess that goes to show how incredibly powerful different skills can be. Oh, hey, Kelvin. You're already here. Good morning, Ange. I'll be in your care today. Ahaha, what an honor it is being relied on by our brand new rank S adventurer. Leave it to me, I've got you covered. The arrangement was that Ange would be by my side for the entire day, operating as my attendant, guiding me where I needed to go and providing general support where necessary. Among those who worked at the Parth Adventurers Guild, I was closest to her. Maybe choosing her for the task had been Rio's way of being considerate. Well, since you're all here, we might as well go over the schedule. It's a bit early, but it won't hurt, Ange said as she took out several sheets of paper from her shoulder pouch and passed them around to us. The ceremony begins at 10 a.m. You are free to do whatever you want till then, but it'd be a great help if you could be backstage ahead of time. The guild has prepared formal wear for each of you, so please change into those in your respective rooms. Do we have to wear the formal outfits? I thought I'd just wear the same thing I'll be in for the match. I've already put on my favorite black robe, Astartes' embrace, to pump myself up and everything. I'm sorry. It's not like there's a set rule or anything, but our guildmaster got weirdly fired up about the whole thing and ordered custom outfits for all of you. I don't know if it's any consolation, but these were created according to official guidelines, so you'll be able to wear them for any other guild-related ceremonies in the future. We'll let you keep them for free, so could you bear with it for now? Wait, where's Mel San? Mel Nay isn't feeling well today, so she can't make it. She's been under the weather since yesterday. Really? I'm sorry to hear that. I'll need to visit her later on. Ryan had excused Mel's absence on the grounds of illness, but of course that was a big, fat lie. Our goddess was currently tucked away within my magic pool. As we had discussed, it was a necessary countermeasure against the possibility of her bumping into Colette or other important figures from Deramus. I wasn't sure if there was a genuine need to be this careful, but there was a high chance of Colette recognizing her, so it was best to be safe. I guess the Oracle is living up to her position and the blessing she received. Good on her. I mean, yes, but that's not exactly. Not exactly what? I think you'll get it when you meet her yourself. You've been a bit weird since this morning. You sure you're not unwell for real? Ange continued to give us the rundown, oblivious to our telepathic conversation. Once the ceremony is over, there'll be time for lunch, and then it'll be the practice match that everyone's looking forward to. To be blunt, most of the visitors from other countries are likely more interested in that part than the ceremony itself. These occasions are pretty much the only opportunity most have to see rank S adventurers duking it out, after all. Kelvin, make sure you win, okay? Sarah commanded. I won't forgive you if you lose. No need to tell me. I'll be deadly serious about winning. Ange whispered in my ear, is it just me, or is Sarah-san really worked up today? Stuff happened yesterday. She's been like this all morning, don't worry about it. I see. Guess you've got a lot on your plate. If you ever need a helping hand, come find me. Thanks, Ange. That really means a lot. She's so great. I hope we can stay such good friends in the future. Master, we still have a little over 2 hours before the ceremony begins. What should we do? We came a bit too early. Should we just find somewhere to spend? Well, I'll be. If it isn't Kelvin Chan and Gerard Sama, a rough voice exclaimed from behind us. I didn't even have to turn around to know who it was. Gerard's immediate look of anxiety beside me left no room for doubt. Hey there, Pretia. The speaker was, of course, Goldiana Pritiana. He was dressed to the nines and sporting even more makeup than when we had seen him last. So, this is him at his most dolled up? Damn. Your ceremony is finally happening. I'll be supporting you from the shadows. Go break a leg. That's heartening to hear. Thanks. Still, there's some time before it kicks off, isn't there? I'm planning to visit my favorite cafe. I wanted to read a book over a cup of morning tea, but would you dearies like to join me? How about you, Gerard dear? Pretia winked, with the sideways peace sign and all, and sent a heart flying our way. This is obviously meant for Gerard, so I can't very well get in the way. Let's dodge it. It's not mine, either. Ah, even Gerard avoided the heart. Look at him being all shy. Joking aside, I quite liked the cafe idea. I also thought I might get to hear some interesting information from Pretia, so I decided to take him up on the offer. We don't have any other plans, so, sure. If you don't mind having us, that is. Oh my, really? Ange, what about why? What's wrong? I had turned to look at Ange and found her staring in shock. K. Kelvin, THTH this person is, Peach Ogre, Goldiana Pritiana from the Western Continent. When exactly did you two get to know each other? Didn't you get the report on what happened with Sarah and the others? With Sarah San? Are you referring to the new dungeon that Ryan Chan reported? What does that have to do with Goldiana San? It wasn't Pretia who contacted the guild. Oh, I'm sorry, Kel Ni. I guess I never did get to go into the details. It was me who made the report to the guild about the new dungeon and the monsters we encountered. I was planning to bring Pretia Chan's name up as well, but he kept insisting he didn't want his share of the reward. We parted ways in front of the guild, with me and Gramps left to make the report as he ran off to our house by himself. Ah, so that's why you got home a bit later. And if Pretia was charging at our place on his own, it makes a lot more sense that our golems attacked him. Oh, how embarrassing. Silly me, getting ahead of myself and everything. Pretia blushed and stuck out his tongue. Damn it, why can't it be the girls in my party striking that pose? You're such a scatterbrain sometimes, Pretia Chan. Ryan laughed. In any case. Off to the cafe we go, dearies. We can talk there. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. After killing some time at Pretia's favorite cafe, our group returned to the main venue. Pretia left us in front of the entrance and made his way over to the VIP seating as the rest of us headed for our private lounge. That was actually a pretty good place with a nice atmosphere, Sarah said. I nodded. I know, right? I'd expected something more, out there, but I'll admit Pretia has pretty good tastes. Aside from his fashion sense, that is. But let's move on. It's time to don our formal clothing. Here are your outfits, Ange said as she passed separate packages to each of us. The outfits were all of unique design, with mine being a black three-piece suit that looked more like something a noble would wear. It had fancy detailing, and there was even a brooch bearing the wing symbol that represented the Parth Adventurers Guild for me to pin on later. Ephil, Sarah, and Ryan all had dresses tailored to reflect their own personalities. Guild staff had apparently dedicated numerous all-nighters to these designs even before the ceremony had been officially announced. Just like my suit, the dresses bore the Parthian wing. Ranking a solid A, they were surprisingly high-quality outfits. And this is the one for Mel San. Please pass it on to her later. Gotcha. Thanks, I think she'll love it. Ephil. This outfit doesn't have holes for my wings and tail. Not a problem. Chloe Chan is holding onto a set of my sewing tools for me, so I can fix it easily enough. Sarah seemed rather flustered, but it was clear that Ephil was on top of things, as always. Gerard had also received a white mantle emblazoned with the Parthian wing, but due to the way his self-modification skill worked, equipping it would mean losing Crimson Mantle forever. And, similarly, after putting this one on, he wouldn't be able to take it off again. What should we do? Gerard cleared his throat awkwardly. Ange, I'm sorry to say this, but I have personal reasons for why I can't wear this. May I go out in my current gear? Oh, you're fine, Gerard-san. We know you never take off your armor, so the guildmaster's already given up on the idea. See? Great, thanks. A small chuckle bubbled up in my throat. Gerard, I think they might have misunderstood you somehow. Kelvin, your changing room is that way. The female changing room is over here. I'll come to fetch you all when time comes. As I said at the cafe, the only thing you'll have to do during the ceremony is say, yes, so don't stress about it. Well then, I'll be back in a few. Ange headed out, but not before hurriedly pushing me into my own changing room. Fine. I'll get changed, then, I suppose. Honey, is that disappointment I hear in your voice? Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. Even before the start of the ceremony, numerous VIPs from abroad and various famous adventurers were already settled into their seats. The area for the other spectators was all but overflowing as well. It was harder to find a spot that wasn't occupied. Looks like the ceremony is actually happening. Remember the guest of honor never showed up last time? I still have no idea what she looks like. Come, now, don't say that. Sylvia Dono is the one who will be serving as the opponent in the practice match this afternoon. So, we'll not only be seeing both of them in person, we'll even have the honor of spectating their fight. That's enough to make up for last year in my book. Several conversations within the VIP area, most of them among the nobles, had already turned towards the upcoming match. Some had attended in hopes of attracting the new talent, some were there to gauge the threat posed by these new superpowers. There were as many intentions as there were people present, but at the root of it all was the power suggested by the rank S designation. Authorities from many countries had scrambled to get to Parth as soon as the Adventurers Guild had announced the event. The occasion was just that important. As expected, the place is fully packed. I must make sure to bear witness to Gerard Sama's gallant figure. Of course, there were some viewers who were entertaining impure thoughts, but they were rather in the minority. Silence, please. The clamor of the crowd abruptly died down as Rio's voice reverberated through the venue. All eyes turned towards the stage where he stood. Thank you for waiting, ladies and gentlemen. The ceremony will now begin. On this auspicious day, the man who is to be promoted to the distinguished rank of S is Kelvin, an adventurer affiliated with the Parth Adventurers Guild. Whispers rose up in various places around the stands. It was only 3 months ago that Kelvin registered to be an adventurer. However, what he has achieved within this short period of time is extraordinarily impressive. After vanquishing the archdemon who made a sudden appearance in the vicinity of Parth, he, along with the heroes of Daramus, went on to take down the infamous bandit gang Black Wind. While staying in the country of water, he accepted a request from the Queen of Tarai to subjugate the terror that was a rank S evil dragon. Only a week ago, he successfully saved the village of elves in Gon from an unwarranted invasion launched by the mixed monster order of Trison. We of the Guild confirm to the world that Kelvin does indeed possess sufficient power to be deemed worthy of the rank of S. As such, we hereby express our official approval of his promotion. When Rio finished speaking, spotlights swiveled onto sections of the stage to his left and right. On one side was the national flag of Tarai, on the other the national flag of Gon, and before each flag was a crystal ball. I am Tsubaki Fujiwari, Queen of Tarai. I acknowledge the eligibility of the adventurer Kelvin. I am Lenhart Gon, King of Gon. I also acknowledge the eligibility of the adventurer Kelvin. The voices of the two heads of state emanated loud and clear from the crystal balls, magical items of communication. Rio raised both hands dramatically. And there we have the acknowledgement from two monarchs of countries on the eastern continent. With that, Kelvin's promotion is formally confirmed. Let it be known that this promotion to rank S is the fastest in the history of the Adventurers Guild. Cheering and applause went up in a roar from the spectators, the majority of whom were Parthians. Kelvin was the first ever Parthian adventurer to reach rank S, and they couldn't have been prouder. A few of the nobles in the VIP section looked slightly taken back, but there was no time to dwell on trivial matters. Now, without further ado, let's have today's guest of honor join us on stage. Kelvin, come on up. The 5 people who had been on standby at the far end of the central pathway began to walk forward. At the front of the group was Kelvin, looking smart in his black suit. Huddled closely around him were Ephil in an elegant green dress, Sarah in a fiery red dress, and Ryan in an immaculate white dress. Taking up the rear guard was Gerard who, despite not having worn the formal mantle, still exuded an overwhelming aura of gravity thanks to his awe-inspiring armor. The figure of him gallantly protecting his lord's back was the ultimate display of nobility. How beautiful! Are those girls his party members? There's no way, he's just hired them for show, what? They really are? Gerard-sama, so wonderful. Understandably, it was the 3 beauties who attracted the most attention. They almost never wore makeup in their everyday life, their natural features were stunning enough. Today, however, Ainge had given them a light, dignified makeover that served to offer a slightly more mature impression. Furthermore, they were wearing the bespoke gowns that the guild staff had poured their hearts and souls into. Even the nobles who were used to seeing such finery at their social gatherings could not look away. Sighs of admiration went up throughout the crowd. Our efforts have finally paid off. I knew it. Our judgment was right. The staff members who had been part of this side project exchanged high fives and wiped tears from their eyes as the newer employees looked at them with a mixture of amusement and exasperation. Seriously, what are you guys doing? I mean, sure, you did do a great job, wait, did they just faint? According to Ainge's account, the ones who collapsed from the exhaustion of consecutive all-nighters did so with extremely satisfied expressions on their faces. After walking the length of the carpeted pathway, Kelvin left the rest of his companions at the bottom of the staircase as he alone climbed up to where Rio was waiting. Naturally, this caused the spectators to shift their attention to him. That's Kelvin Dono, the fastest rising adventurer in history? You, make sure to burn every detail into your brain for the report to send back home. And we need to attempt to make contact with him somehow. So young? And he doesn't look all that distinctive, does he? Well, I don't know about you, but I kind of like what I see. At the very least, it seems like he knows how to hold himself. The reactions of the nobles were diverse. With some feeling that he fell short in comparison to his female companions, some trying to gauge his potential, and a wide variety of ulterior motives, opinions, and speculations in between. At the same time, the cheers of support from the throngs of commoners rose by another decibel. They're probably thinking all sorts of things about me, aren't they? Please let it be the afternoon already, Kelvin thought with an inward sigh as he felt all of the unapologetic gazes directed towards his back. Even so, he remained mindful about keeping up his manners and giving off the best impression he could. Hardly any of those watching imagined that his head was already filled with thoughts of the coming match. Upon reaching the spot next to Rio, Kelvin turned around to face the crowd. It was there, at that moment, that a new rank S adventurer was born. Hollow diamond, 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 hollow. I'm so tired. After the ceremony finished and I had dealt with the hangers-on, I finally had time to grab some lunch. Food stalls had been set up everywhere around the square, and we were circling them and trying to decide where to eat when, of all people, we bumped into Sylvia and Emma. Good job. I, for one, think you did well. They invited us to join their table, and we accepted. There were already several empty plates stacked up next to the silver-haired girl, but I was so used to the sight by now, thanks to a certain gluttonous goddess I knew, that I barely noticed. In fact, I thought the stack a bit unimpressive, to be honest. "Where's the rest of your party?" I asked as I sat down. "Kokudori is off on his own. He's probably still somewhere on the grounds. Nagua still can't move. Ariel is looking after him." Sarah snorted softly. Maybe I should have given him one more punch. I couldn't help blurting out a, now, in response. "He might have been able to take it," Sylvia said, bringing a finger to her face thoughtfully. "Or maybe not. Pretty hard to tell, actually. We need to train him more." Damn smooth way of handling Sarah's jab. This girl's going places. It was at this point that a server came to our table, so we each ordered whatever we felt like. For some reason, the guy was so nervous that he was practically shaking in his shoes. Why's he acting like that? Is today his first day on the job? "Sylvie, how do you feel now, with it almost being time for the fight?" asked Ryan. "Sister dear, your quickness at making friends never ceases to amaze me." "You're already on a nickname basis with Sylvia?" "I'm not sure why, but I feel great today. As promised, I'll go all out." Whoa, I think I can almost see some sort of aura of motivation surrounding her. Emma brought a hand to her forehead. "She's been like this ever since last night." "Sylvia, are you sure you didn't eat anything strange?" "I've only eaten what you have," Sylvia answered. She bobbed her head at Eiffel. "Oh, right, Eiffel-san. Your food last night was delicious. I was so moved. I'll treasure your signature forever." Eiffel lowered her head in response. "I'm glad you liked it. Please come eat at the restaurant again." If she had Eiffel's cooking, that means she received a buff from it, didn't she? Sarah remarked through the network. My eyes widened slightly at the realization. "Sylvia, if you check your status, you'll find a wonderful surprise waiting for you. But then again, I have the same buff, so we're even. Let's have ourselves a wonderful fight." Hollow diamond, 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 hollow diamond. Next to the area where the morning's program had been held was a simplistic coliseum that would be the stage for the demo match. There was a circular platform in the center surrounded by tiers of spectator seats. And the ornamentation of the structure was surprisingly elaborate for a place that had been set up for the sake of a single fight. The match was just about to start, and the entire venue was absolutely swarming with people. Every seat was filled, and vendors were already out making their rounds. Excitement hung thick in the air. Ladies and gentlemen, the exhibition match between our newest Rank S adventurers will be starting any moment now. Your commentator for the day is me, Renove, official announcer from the GON Mixed Fighting Arena. The voice of a female cat beastkin rang out loud and clear from a square box dangling around the neck of a gigantic bird flying above the stands. The box was a magic item often used in the arenas at GON, which served the purpose of magnifying the speaker's voice. As such, those who lived in GON, as well as those who had prior experience attending fights, were quite familiar with the device. In contrast, those encountering it for the first time were understandably surprised. And there were a lot of startled faces today, as this was the first time the contraption had ever been used in Parth. Many of those present seemed to be doubting their own ears. Oh, wow, that's a pretty interesting invention. Have you ever seen it before, Sylvia? When I visited an arena in Gone. I don't like how it rings in my ears though. Sylvia and Kelvin had a bit of time before the match and were currently chatting on stage while they waited. The reason for the delay was gulp, 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 burp. Phew, I finally managed to drink the whole thing. I'll be casting the spell on you now, Kelvin-san. Yeah, take all the time you need. The Oracle of Daramus, Colette, was struggling a bit with getting through the various spells that she needed to perform. She had started off with the one that would prevent instant death on Sylvia, but doing so had almost emptied her MP pool, causing her knees to buckle. The two clerics standing by for this very purpose caught her with perfect timing, and one of them passed her an MP potion. It was a rather sizable bottle, requiring some effort on her part to finish it off. However, if she didn't drink it, her MP wouldn't recover fast enough. If she was to fulfill her ceremonial duties, she had no option but to drink. Recovery potions were absolute must-haves when adventuring, as they were a sure way to top up one's HP and MP quickly. However, they were not suitable for use during combat. There was variation in how much they could recover and how they tasted based on the ingredients used. But what they all had in common was their volume and the fact that the user needed to drink the entire bottle for the potion to take effect. The only kind of adventurer who had that much time in the middle of a battle would be a novice on their first day, or so the saying went. If an adventurer desperately needed to recover on the spot, it fell to the other party members to protect the one drinking the elixir. I wanted to talk to her before the match, but it's going to have to wait, Kelvin thought. I'll have to pick a time when she doesn't seem so at the end of her rope. After casting the same spell on Kelvin, Colette collapsed once again, was caught by her attendants once again, and, of course, was passed another MP potion, once again. You're almost done, Oracle. All that's left is to erect the barrier. Why yes, I'm almost done, I've got this. With a pale face, she raised the next bottle to her lips. As Kelvin mentally cheered her on, Renove continued to keep the audience engaged with her lighthearted chatter. Today's stage was created by the famous artisan Caesar San and his apprentices. We asked him for a comment, and, I quote, "We poured our heart into making a stage that would never break." From the look of it, plenty of care was directed towards the decorations as well. A section of the stands filled with solemn-looking men nodded. And today, joining me as a guest is none other than the rank S adventurer known as Peach Ogre, Goldiana Prydiana-san. Goldiana-san, I'll be counting on you. It's my pleasure to be here. And feel free to call me, Prydia-chan, dearie. Right off the bat, let me clarify, I really will be counting on you because I won't be providing commentary after all. Many of the spectators did a double take at the brazen dereliction of duty. Same as always, eh? That's right. I'm proud of the portfolio of matches that I've commentated on, but my eyes can't keep up with the movements of rank S adventurers. I wouldn't have the slightest clue what's going on. But those of you who are listening, don't worry. Goldiana-san here is more than capable of explaining things when the need arises. I wonder about this every time, but what are you here for, then, dear? This voice magnification item is on loan from our own arena, so me being here is a sort of side benefit that I get to enjoy. But hey, at least I'll do the emceeing. As if to interrupt the banter, a bluish-white barrier suddenly flashed into being. Once it had expanded far enough to completely cover the stage, its color faded, leaving it transparent. Panting heavily, the Oracle said, "With this, the preparations are finished, so, I pray that the two of that the two of you have a great match," and stepped down from the stage, hands clapped tightly over her mouth. Poor girl. I hope she doesn't throw up, Kelvin thought earnestly. Potions took effect the moment the entire bottle was finished, so there was no issue with vomiting the contents back up afterwards. Looks like the preparations are done. Well then, let's go over the rules one last time. Take it away, Renov-chan. The match will be conducted on top of the circular stage. The condition for winning is to either force the Oracle's protection spell to activate, or to make the other person fall off the stage. The surrounding barrier will block all magical attacks, but living beings can pass through it with no problem, so keep that in mind. Everyone in the stands, sit back and enjoy the spectacle. Just like me, you'll most likely have no idea what you're seeing. Has anyone ever told you that you have a rather sharp tongue, Renov-chan? Renov suddenly dropped her voice to a whisper. This is just between you and me, but the nobles who act like they know what's going on actually can't see anything, either. I bet their bodyguards are secretly explaining everything to them as things progress. In a similar low voice, Goldiana chided her, good ladies know to keep such secrets to themselves. Ahem. Well then, folks, let's talk about the rules for equipment and items next. It's short and simple. All equipment is allowed, regardless of rank, but all usable items are banned. That's right. We have already inspected everything that each fighter currently has on their person. Kelvin and Sylvia had to submit applications detailing what they would be using during the fight. And the organizers had inspected the two of them based on those lists before they'd even gotten up onto the stage. Needless to say, both had been cleared without issue. Just for today, Kelvin had left behind the Clotho clone that he normally kept on his person at all times. And that's it for the rules. Do both fighters understand them? I'm sure you do, right? So, without further ado, get to your starting positions. Quickly. Nobody understood the need for the sudden rush. Let's have a good match, Sylvia. Fair and square. Got it. And I know, I'll go all out. The two exchanged a friendly handshake and moved apart. Look at that sportsmanlike handshake between the two contestants. Will we be seeing a fair and above-board fight today? What do you think, Goldiana-san? It's my first time watching either of them fight as well, so your guess is as good as mine. I suppose we'll just have to see. Both adventurers turned to walk to their respective starting positions. On the east side of the arena is the adventurer who was promoted just this morning, Kelvin-san. He's wearing a black robe and his weapon appears to be a staff. What kind of fighting style will he be showing us today? You've got this, Kel-ni. Make sure you win, Kelvin. I'll be praying for you, Master. Voices expressing support for Kelvin rang out loudly from the reserved seats in the very first row. And most importantly, which of his female companions is his favorite? Why are you asking me that now? Kelvin thought, somewhat perplexed, feeling the pointed stares of the non-Parthian men on his back. On the west side of the ring is the rank S adventurer who was promoted last, Sylvia-san. In sharp contrast to her opponent, her base color is white and silver, she's wearing light armor, and her weapon appears to be a saber. Sylvia-san did not show up for her own promotion ceremony, which means we know absolutely nothing about the strength of either contestant. This is going to be one interesting showdown. It's almost time, Renov-chan. My bad. Alright then, let's kick this match off. Are both contestants ready? The cheering abruptly died down. Kelvin raised his staff, the butt resting on his shoulder. Sylvia adopted a fencing pose, the tip of her sword pointing straight forward. Ready, begin. Boom. As soon as the starting signal was given, half the stage turned into a quagmire and a pillar of air pressure crashed down with Kelvin's simultaneous casting of contaminated mud bind and air pressure. Sylvia found her legs immediately sinking into the bottomless bog as a heavy weight threatened to crush her. Even so, she was unfazed. There was a sharp exhale, then she charged straight through the swamp. Her sword flashed once. Clang. Saber clashed with scythe in the split second that Sylvia passed Kelvin's side. "Oh, I'm going to enjoy this," Kelvin murmured as he raised a hand to the fresh cut on his cheek. There was a faint flash of light, then he brought his hand back down to reveal that the wound was already gone. She used earth, wind, and light. 3 elements all at once, wow. What's more? You look like you're having fun, Sylvia noted. Oh, you have no idea. Everything that I've done for the sake of this match, it's finally paying off, Kelvin replied, his face filled with appreciation for his opponent. I see. As promised, I'm going to kill you now. Goldiana-san, what happened just there? Kelvin Chan tried to use air pressure to slam Sylvia Chan into a poisonous quagmire, but she got out of it by freezing the patch of ground she was standing on. Then she made a beeline for Kelvin Chan and tried to drive her sword through his right eye. At that speed, her sword would have gone straight out to the other side, impaling his head. His eye? She has such a pretty face, and yet the first thing she does is go for her opponent's eye? Looks like Kelvin Chan dodged it by tilting his head. Then he used his scythe. Is that a special function of his staff? No matter. He attempted to use the scythe to cut off her head. Her head? He looked like such a nice guy during the ceremony, and, am I seeing right? Is he smiling? They both have Colette Chan's spell protecting them, so there's no danger. And she managed to dodge it by crouching D. Renove interrupted Goldiana's explanation, shouting, "This match is far dirtier than I expected."